Welcome back, Loreseekers. Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa, started out pretty strong with a lot of good Easter eggs. I do feel as though for this plot, a 30-minute runtime is short. I would much rather have less episodes and longer runtimes. Just when I was itching for more, the show ended, and out of the 3 chapters so far, the longer runtime was the best episode, because it didn't feel too rushed. Kicking off the start of this episode, we once again see the Boamar monks. This order took their brain out of their organic body and transplanted them into a nutrient-filled jar, and their body became a spider-like droid. Jabba took over their order's sanctuary and made it his palace, allowing them to roam around the grounds as they did not interfere with his business. It looks as though Boba Fett feels the same and is allowing them to move freely around their property. Jumping inside the throne room, Boba, Fennec, and 88 discuss the power grab that has happened over the death of Jabba. The Trandoshans, Akulish, and the Klatooinians have divided Mos Espa into 3 parts, all while lining the pockets of the mayor. Fennec believes the Hutts control the mayor, and before the discussion can continue, Lord Thapil, a watermonger, arrives and tells Boba he is not respected, and he demands his aid against the local speeder bike gang, something that wouldn't even have happened on Bib Fortuna's watch. Boba decided to meet the gang himself, only to learn that the speeder bike gang is a bunch of young adults who just need money because there's no work. Understanding the watermonger has overpriced his water, he puts him in his place and hires the gang as his personal entourage. And now Boba will start a flashback here while in his bacta tank, which takes us briefly back to Kamino. In my last lore video about Boba, I learned in Legends that he returns to Kamino in 19 ABY because he has cancer and he loses his leg. He seeks to get a clone leg, and maybe they can cure him since Kamino is highly familiar with his DNA. From there, he goes on a mission to Mandalore and becomes the new Mandalore. I now believe that Boba will attempt to return to Kamino at some point, but not in this season. After Kamino, we warp back to Tatooine, where he's once again with his new Tusken tribe. He goes off on a mission where he's fully decked out and he has a bantha. He's going to speak with the leader of the Pikes at Mos Espa. There we learn that he doesn't want to make a deal with the Tuskens and the Kintan Striders because, well, it just doesn't make sense money-wise. Boba actually understands this and he doesn't even question it. He just claims that he can deal with the Striders. During his time here, we also see Stormtrooper helmets on spikes, just as we did in The Mandalorian, dating his flashbacks to well after the events of Endor. Now, it could be 6-7 months, a year, 2 years. We do know it's about 4 years for The Mandalorian. So we also see Pelamato in the background with her pit droid. So we are kind of getting dated here. At the end of this flashback, Boba returns to the Dune Sea to find his new tribe had already been slaughtered, presumably by the Kintan Striders, because they left a little graffiti mark on the tent. I do think there's an unknown player in this. In Legends, the Hutts start mini wars with the Tuskens and other factions to help keep the balance of power. With Jabba gone, Bib Fortuna or another Hutt could be making a power grab. The female warrior of the Tuskens was also not observed on the battlefield, a likely prisoner and future rescue by Fett. From here, Boba's rudely awakened by Chrysanthemum. Boba finds himself in the fight for his life. The Wookiee makes quick work of Fett until he is saved by his new speeder gang. The Gamorreans arrive only to get tackled down the stairs, and then the Wookiee beats them pretty easily in hand-to-hand combat. Fennec shows up to open the trap door, and the Wookiee falls down into the Rancor pit. Now, here's a little bit of issue I have. Chrysanthemum is a legendary fighter in the Outer Rim. He would literally take fighting pits up as a pastime waiting for his next bounty. In one contest full of Wookiee prisoners, he actually volunteers to fight and wins the pits with his knuckles only, and he would even strangle one. So this fight does seem a little off compared to what Chrysanthemum is actually capable of, and when he is actually on a bounty run, he's much more tactical, as we saw when he faced Obi-Wan Kenobi. Those scars on his face are from Obi-Wan Kenobi. So he's faced the Jedi, he's won countless fights in gladiator pits. It's hard for me to imagine him losing a fight against a speeder bike gang and getting tricked into a pit that he's familiar with, because he's worked for Jabba before and he's stood in the throne room. So I don't know, the writing did seem a little off here for me, but it works out. It was still a good fight. It was still well choreographed, and it does work out to progress through the story. With Chrysanthemum trapped, Boba is unsure of his next move. That is until the twins arrive to admit they hired the Wookiee, but decided it was wrong as they do not want a war, but a war not with Fett, but of the true owners of the lands, which was made by the mayor. The Hutts left Boba a gift, a young Rancor, and Boba here decides to let Chrysanthemum go, and I think he's going to play another role, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Boba wants to learn to ride the Rancor, and Danny Trejo's character of the Rancor Keeper gives us the best Easter egg of the show. The witches of Dathomir used to ride the Rancors through the forest. This gives us a good image of Fett riding this Rancor in combat, and some good callbacks to The Force Unleashed and other various video games and comic books. Again, like I said in the last review, I wish it was a Krayt Dragon, but a Rancor will do fine.
Here, I need something more real.
I don't have anything else, but credits will do fine.
No, they won't.
Credits will do fine.
No, they won't.
Now, Boba takes action to meet with the mayor, who is not in the office, and starts a speeder bike chase with his aide, who, once caught, reveals it's the Pikes who owns Mos Espa now. The speeder bike chase just wasn't for me. I thought the CGI was kinda outdated for the might of Disney and Lucasfilm, and although the colors were odd being on Tatooine, that wasn't why I felt it was off to me. It was just poorly executed, but the results would have been the same learning of the Pikes who arrived shortly after on in the Starliner, and with growing numbers. Boba makes his decision to build his army and prepare for a war. I think Boba Fett will now bring in some key players. I think he will hire Chrysanthemum and bring in the Tusken Raiders, his hidden ally of the past, who I assume will be led by the female warrior who is yet to be revealed as dead or saved in the flashbacks. I also think he will hire Bossk and Dengar for this fight, giving us all we ever wanted. So yes, I'm ready for next week. May the Force be with you. Always.